Hello?
Ready? Thirty more seconds. All right, we can get started. We'll keep letting people in as they come in. Thanks everybody for joining us on this Tuesday evening. I'm sure everybody is very busy after a long weekend, so I appreciate you guys taking the time and meeting with us and talking about camp. Do you want to start with introducing yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Steph. I am the Matollionequay Girls Camp Director.
And I'm Charlotte. I am the Camp Ockanickon Director, which is the boys' camp, and the Executive Director of Overnight Camp. And tonight we're going to talk about how to prepare your camper for a successful summer, and how to alleviate some of that homesickness. Want to do the first part?
Sure. So the best thing to do to start the whole process is to provide your camper with information, a little bit about what to anticipate. Hopefully you've been out to camp and kind of saw what camp looks like, what the cabins look like. Some of you were here for a new camper orientation and got to see camp in action a little bit. So we recommend marking the dates on your calendar. Make sure that your camper knows when it's coming up and are looking forward to it. It's helpful to also review the sample schedule, our activity list, our evening program schedule, and our camp menu. So a lot of those things will be coming out over the next couple weeks. So it'll be a good opportunity to go over all those things with your camper so that they can anticipate what's coming up at camp.
Something you guys can do is, you might have received the camp calendar in the mail, if you're a returning family. If not, they are available at the Welcome Center for pickup. You are welcome to grab one. And you can just put it, somewhere where it's visible, and you can literally mark the dates where your camper will be away. And it kind of alleviates some of the anxiety of, when am I going to camp? When is it happening? and to visually see, these are the dates that I'm going to be away.
Also, it's a good idea to review our policies regarding technology and communication at camp. So we're a tech-free camp, so there's no cell phones, there's no calling home, things like that. We do have support systems in place in case a parent needs to let us know something. Also, a camper, if they're struggling a little bit, having a little bit of homesickness, someone from our team not only will support that camper, but they'll also communicate to you and provide an update and kind of touch base with you to see what we can do to better support the camper. We also do Bunk One. So it's a great app that we upload photos every day. You can kind of see what your camper's doing. And then there's also an add-on service of adding bunk notes. So you can send a message through the app or on the website, and they come to us and we print them out every day at 8 a.m. And then we deliver them to the campers, and the campers have the opportunity to write back if you have selected the specialized response papers. So camper responses are sent out Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evening, and those responses would get to you through the app or your email if you're registered for Bunk One.
And then Sunday on a 2-week session. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Also, we recommend that you follow us on social media. There's a lot of updates, countdowns, getting excited for camp, seeing what the staff's doing, getting ready for campers to arrive. And also, while your camper is here, it provides updates throughout the day of some of the activities that are going on. So we are on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
It's always good to give your camper as much information as possible so that they know what to expect. So if they're following along on Instagram or social media, then they kind of can see it visually and have a more of an understanding and a visualization of how to see themselves in that space, especially if they haven't come to an orientation or an open house yet. Okay. So it's also important to do a hands-on experience, provide a hands-on experience for, with your camper. Oh, what's your name on the Instagram account? So the name on our Instagram account, so you can follow us on 3 different accounts. There's YMC of the Pines, which is all of the departments at camp, which is Ockanickon, Matollionequay, Stockwell, and Outdoor Center and Schools Out, all fall under the YMC of the Pines. And then each camp has their own account. So it's at Camp Ockanickon and at Matollionequay. You'll also receive all of this information on our next Welcome to Camp email, which is going out on Monday. And then you'll also receive it, you'll get session-specific emails as you get closer to your specific session. Okay, so I always believe in working with your camper on providing hands-on experience. So one of the first things is learning how to make having your camper learn to make their bed. It seems like a simple thing, but when they get to camp, it could be an overwhelming task since they've never done it before. Our staff are here to support your camper in all of these new things, but having that experience before they get to camp kind of alleviates some of that anxiety when they have to do it independently, or they might be embarrassed that they don't know how to make a bed or whatever. So kind of working with them and practicing that could be crucial when they're at camp. Every day at camp, we have inspection where campers are asked to, each of them will have a little chore, and then they are, then their journey leader or their village leader goes around and inspects the cabin to make sure that it's clean and all of those things. And one of the things is that all of the campers are asked to make their bed and tidy their area. So that could be something that you start at camp. And we have heard that many kids go back home after camp and continue to make their bed because they're in that routine. So if you want to start that routine at home, that kind of gives them a jump start to expect, like knowing what to expect when they get to camp. Reviewing the packing list together. Campers can start thinking about what clothes they want to bring, and start putting those things aside. That gets them excited. Maybe there's new clothes that they want to wear, or a special shirt or whatever the case. And then they can start packing. And then also when they're unpacking, they know what's in there and they're not like, oh no, I forgot this or I forgot that. It gives them more autonomy on what they're going to be wearing at camp, and it gets them excited and thinking about those things now. Begin putting your name on all of the items. So it's very important at camp to have everything labeled. Everything labeled. Many things get lost, but if your camper's name is on it, there's definitely a higher chance that it will get returned to the camper. As Steph was saying, we have a platform called Bunk One where all of our photos for the day live, and you'll get a link to that. And one of the things that you can click on is the lost and found at the end of the session. So if you see anything, then that's yours. We can mail it out to you, or you can come pick it up. But you can have your camper, putting labels on their belongings to camp or whatever the case may be. I do advise to not bring anything to camp that you would be worried is going to get dirty or going to get lost. Nothing too special, on the off chance that it could get lost or misplaced or broken or, those things. If your camper has never slept away, I would advise that they should try to have a sleepover before camp, that they're sleeping in a different bed that's not home, that kind of gets them used to sleeping in a different bed, and gets them kind of used to being out of their comfort zone and being out of like what's theirs. So maybe sleeping at grandma's house or a close friend or something. I think in that routine. Do you want to keep going?
Sure. We also recommend packing a small reminder of home. It could be a favorite stuffed animal, a family photo, a sweatshirt of someone's that feels comforting and familiar. So it's really helpful to have those pieces of home to help alleviate some of the homesickness. And then also, if you have met some new or returning camp families, it would be nice to try to connect with them before camp so that your camper has a familiar face to look for at camp.
A lot of campers will bring pictures of home with them, and then just kind of hang it next to their bunk. It's nice for them to like share photos of their dog or this is my brother. And it's a nice kind of connection point and an easy connection point and a talking point for them to connect on. Also, I always brought my blankie to camp. I still bring it with me everywhere I travel. But that was kind of my comfort thing. And a lot of campers will bring a blanket or a stuffed animal or a favorite pillowcase. It's just kind of a comfort thing to have with them.
Also, getting ready for camp, we want you to be encouraging your camper, setting them up for success, giving them confidence. And part of that is understanding the camp philosophy. Our outlook is to push with support. We want them to explore, grow, and thrive while they're here at camp. And some of that can be uncomfortable. But we want the kids to have realistic expectations that once they have an experience of feeling uncomfortable or homesick, that we're not going to immediately give up and send them home. So really we want to avoid giving campers false promises, such as saying that they can go home or call you and things like that, because we're not going to be quick to send them home. We want to help support them to move through that uncomfortable part of being away from home and in a new setting, because that's where real growth happens. And then also, unfortunately, with the calling home, we find that if they do get on the phone with someone from home, it's like game over. Like they have shut down. and the homesickness gets worse. So we really want to rather work together to support them to move through all of that. Also avoid pickup deals. We know campers can push through their homesickness and have a terrific camp experience. Keep encouraging your camper and tell them that you know that they can do it. And we're all here to support them.
And so what we mean by pickup deals is something like, if you get through Wednesday, then I'll pick you up on Thursday. We really discourage doing that. And it's not going to be something that we're going to approve on our end unless we really, kind of work together through the session. As Steph said, we really want to get them to the finish line to show the camper that they can do it. Because we know that they can. We know that they can get through it, and that they can get to the other side. So we've seen before that parents have done like a code word in the mail or things like that, and it kind of gives them that window out. And we really want to push them to strive and be in that growth zone and be a camp, because that's what they're here for.
Write encouraging letters to them while they're here at camp. Try not to give your camper FOMO or fear of missing out about fun activities that they're missing out on while they're here at camp. Some people mean well and they put in all the current events, but then it ends up giving that child FOMO and they start getting more homesick. So just be super encouraging, and check in on them, reassure them that you will see them soon. The week goes quickly. So once the kids are engaged and really all in on the experience, it goes so quick for them.
Something that we also say is, during drop off, it's a very, well, actually, I can get to that. Well, I can get to that. Okay, so during drop off, it's a quick turnaround because we realize that the longer the goodbye, the worse the homesick can get. So we say that when you're talking to your camper about what to expect on drop-off day, that you're going to check in at the check-in table, you're going to meet your journey leader or your village leader, and then, you're dropping off the bags in the cabin, and then that's it. The longer that you're kind of with your camper in that space, the prolonged goodbye can make it harder. So I would say, let the camper know that that's going to be what's going to be expected on that day.
If you have any questions or concerns on your end, absolutely call us. We have our camp directors, assistant directors. We also have support staff in place to help support any questions or needs that the parents have or the camper has while they're here. So we have a parent liaison at both camps, and they are there to help support and facilitate supports, or even if it's something like they forget their pillow, like calling home and oh, Susie forgot her pillow, and coordinating that. Or if they're having homesickness or struggling in some way at camp, we might strategize with you, what works for you, what's something that would give them comfort. So they're there to be a teammate in the process to set that camper up for success. We also have a mental health professional and a nurse. So the mental health professional is someone highly qualified, and they are there to help support camper needs and to help them push through those learning experiences and support anything that they might be struggling with, whether it be anxiety or overstimulation or homesickness. So they're really a great resource as well. And then we have our nurse on site as well for any medical needs.
One of the mandated forms is called a parent confidential. And in that is information that you want to let us know on how to best support your camper. That information goes to us, and it goes to the journey leader or the unit leader. And then they let the cabin counselors know as needed so that we have the best information to best support your camper. If you want to let us know or have a conversation before camp, we can certainly do that to talk about what best supports to put in place before your camper arrives. one of the things that we kind of put in place recently was called the Zen Zone, which is a quiet table outside of the dining hall. If the dining hall becomes too noisy or it's overstimulating, there's a place outside in the dining hall where kids can sit. And that kind of information is really good to know, so campers can best know like what to expect and what supports are in place for them once they get here.
So like we said, it's normal for a camper to feel homesickness, but also it's completely normal for parents to feel camper sick or have empty nest stress. It can be really anxious and anxiety ridden having your camper away from you. And that's okay. That's a completely normal feeling. If there's something like pressing that you are really concerned about, reach out to us and one of us will talk with you and kind of strategize and things like that. But also, we don't want you to panic. So if you receive a homesick letter from your camper, know that that is often part of the process and that's something they're working through. And if you're really concerned, call the camp and we will work together with it on how to best address it. And honestly, most situations, by the time the letter gets home, they've already moved on. So we're always trying to keep a pulse on those things. But if you get something in a letter or see a photo or whatever that is concerning to you, reach out to us. We are more than happy to work together. We're all here to support you and your camper. Have a good summer.
Something that we're instituting this summer is called the Monk Mood Meter. We're giving it out every day at rest hour. And how it works, it's like a little one-sheeter. The campers write their name on it, and they rank their day 1 through 5. And then it goes back to the counselor and their journey leader or village leader. If they rank their day a 2 or a 1, they get an individualized check-in from their counselor, their unit leader, the mental health team, or from us, the leadership team. And that just kind of gives them another way to advocate for their needs or to express themselves on anything that they might not feel comfortable vocalizing. And that might be a good tool that you want to talk to your camper about, that if they don't feel comfortable communicating, they have this tool to use as well. We say at camp that no news is good news. We do send out a nightly blog every night where you'll see the highlights of the day. You'll see what we had for each meal and what the evening program was and what some activities were and the evening program and all of those things. But we just say kind of no news is good news, meaning you might not hear from us directly or individually. And that is a good thing. If you don't hear from us, it means that your camper is doing good. Something to kind of set your camper up for success is to talk to them about what they're nervous about, what they're excited about, and kind of work through that. At camp, on the first night of camp, we set SMART goals, and the campers work with their cabin counselors on setting those SMART goals and then achieving those goals throughout the week. So you can have your camper start thinking about things that they want to achieve when they get here, such as doing the zip line, making a specific arts and crafts project, tie-dyeing, going to the red section, which is like the deepest section, things like that. So getting them kind of talking about camp, thinking about camp, and then talking through anything that kind of makes them nervous, and then letting us know if we can best support that. Anything you want to add before I do questions?
No, the biggest thing is, again, circling back to the parent confidential, please be as forthcoming as you feel comfortable. It's much better for us to have a heads up and be prepared and not need the supports rather than find out after the fact that we could have done something to set the campers up for more success. So we're here to support you and your camper, and we want everyone to have a great summer. So all of that helps us do that.
So now we're happy to, open it up to you guys and answer any questions that you might have. You can drop it in the chat or you can say it, whatever you feel comfortable with.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
You said something about a packing list. Does that come out in an email? I'm sorry if I missed that.
No, fine. So there is a packing list that went out. It's also on the website. It's in the parent handbook. If you go onto the website, ycamp.org, and go up to forms and then click overnight camp and then click the parent handbook and then scroll through that. And then one of those pages is the packing list. But if you drop your email in the comments, I can also email it to you directly. It's also going out again on Monday.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My son wants to know if there is a bedtime.
Yes, there is a bedtime. We stick to a pretty strict, like rigid schedule. So campers go to bed after evening activity. So it's about like 9:30.
Thank you.
Yeah, of
Very
course.
reasonable, very reasonable.
They are very tired. So some campers will say, well, I go to bed at 10 or whatever. And that's true. But after the long day in the heat, they will fall asleep.
In the same vein, is there a wake up time for all the children?
Yes. Wake up time is 7:30. And then
Ooh.
we're at the dining hall at 8 o'clock for flag raising and then straight to breakfast.
Okay. Did you hear that?
I can send the schedule out to everybody, like the template schedule if you would like.
A different Zoom screen, but same kid. As the woman that just asked the question about bedtimes, would a baseball glove be something that kids would bring to camp?
They are more than welcome. We have all the equipment that campers would need to use for camp, but they are more than welcome to bring equipment. It's totally fine with us.
So you guys, I imagine, have softball games and stuff like that.
Yep. We do all of, all those classic camp things. So yeah, anything that they would need at camp, we have.
Got it. Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Okay, there's some questions in the chat. What is used to hang pictures? I would say you can use a few things. There's like thumbtacks that you could use, or some people use those like sticky tack stuff. Whatever you prefer. The cabins are wood, so you can use a thumbtack. Should they bring luggage that also doubles as storage for them, or do they store clothes somewhere? Do I answer that about the drawers?
Sure. So again, it goes back to camper and family preference. A lot of people throughout the years have kind of moved away from doing luggage or a trunk and moved more to the Sterlite plastic, like 3-drawer stacks. Whatever works best for you and your camper is great, but the drawers seem to be easy access. Also, families can put outfits together. Some people, they know their kids are going to struggle making outfits, so they kind of pre-pack everything that they need for that day in like a big Ziploc and then put them in the bins. So it all depends on like your camper and their level of independence. And what would work best for their organization. But we have seen an uptick in people doing this big, like 3-drawer stacks.
It's also really easy on check-in day because you just take the drawers, put them in a wagon as soon as you get to camp, and then bring the wagon over to the cabin. And then you just take the drawers into the cabin, and then you're pretty much done.
Yeah. And then like you have a laundry bag. So all the dirty stuff goes in the laundry bag throughout the week. They do get a little bit of personal storage. They get a cubby, but that's usually for their shower caddy and things that they need like quick access to. It's not very big. It's like 1 foot by 1 foot. So it's just kind of ready access to certain items, but the stacks seem to work really good.
What about kids that get up early and try to wake others? So you can always wake up a counselor. That's what they're there for. And then we always have somebody that's kind of like the bathroom camper. So at camp, we have a rule of 3, meaning that 2 campers or a camper and a counselor, they can't be together. There always has to be 3 people together. So if a camper needs to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night or early morning, they wake up the designated counselor and the designated camper. So if they want to wake that person up to go to the bathroom, like they know who that person is. Otherwise, like if they're awake, they can write a letter, they can read a book, they can turn on their flashlight. So whatever they need, and then each cabin has 1 to 2 counselors. So that's their job. That's their responsibility to support the camper. So if the camper needs to wake them up and ask a question or do whatever, that's what they're there for. Are they allowed to bring books and reading lights? Yes, definitely.
There's also some additional spots in camp that have little free libraries. So we've had kids enjoy those as well if they forget their book or finish their book. So that's an option too.
So you bring the 3-drawer unit along with the luggage. You can. It really depends on what works for you. Some people bring like 2 drawers or a suitcase in a drawer. It kind of depends on the duration of the camper stay, whether that's mini camp or a 1-week session or a 2-week session, depending on how much they would need. So really whatever works for you. We find it best that whatever luggage you bring, that it's kind of foldable. You can bring what do we call it? Like the trunks.
Yeah.
This was like what I used to bring when I went to camp. But some of them don't fit under the bed. So if they're like collapsible, it usually works better.
And my 3 kids go to camp, and honestly, I usually just need the 3-drawer unit and not any other bags. So it's usually like for us, we're light packers, I guess. So 3-drawer unit, the shower caddy, and then I put all their bedding in their laundry bag, and then they're good to go. So again, it depends on the level of packing, I guess.
Someone asked, what kind of shower caddy should they bring for their shower stuff and PJs? Are there hooks in the shower? Or should they be something that they can put on the floor? So the shower caddy, it's like any kind that you want. It's usually like the plastic ones that let the water kind of drip through. They can bring it into the shower. There are hooks in the bathhouses so they can hang their towel or whatever they need. And then we just say that they should wear shower shoes. And that could be regular flip-flops or Crocs, anything they don't mind getting wet. We also have shower shoes available in the training post this summer, which we're very excited about.
And the shower caddies, they even sell them at like the dollar store. Like it doesn't have to be something extravagant.
I would say less extravagant is better.
Yeah.
You're going to want to toss it when you get home. How long do they have to shower? They have an hour to shower. So it's about like a 3 to 5 minute shower per camper. Some campers, we do a pre-wash. So we get their hair wet. Usually for the younger campers that need more support. So we'll get their hair wet and then kind of get the shampoo going before they get into the shower, just to like kind of get them through. But the shower time is actually a really nice time at camp because it's like a nice kind of chat time and hangout time. But an hour doesn't seem like enough, but they have enough time. It's before bedtime too. So if they need more time, like the time's there. What is the bathing and meal situation for the Bold and Gold canoe trip? So for anything Bold and Gold, I'd probably advise to go through Carol. She's specific to Bold and Gold. Bold and Gold trips aren't affiliated with Ockanickon or Matollionequay. The Rangers trips we do the Rangers trips, but the Bold and Gold trip is separate. The Bold and Gold campers don't hang out or are part of Ockanickon and Matolli. You can send them a stationery and stamps. we get very cute envelopes on how to address envelopes and all that. So their counselor will work with them on how to address them, but you can definitely pre-address the envelopes to help with that process and like where the stamp goes and all of those things. Is there a certain size drawer storage cart? I would say like 2-3 feet-ish.
Yeah, it's like this tall. I'm not sure. It's like the standard, like if you go on Walmart or whatever and search Sterilite 3-drawer stack, it's like the wider one. So it's the same height as like the more narrow, but you want the wider. And it's pretty standard. It's like $20 for the stack.
If you want, when we send out the email tomorrow, we can send the link to the drawers. So we'll send out the schedule, the packing list, and the 3 drawers. Are the beds assigned in each cabin or the campers pick? The campers pick unless there's like a specific preference. I've received emails from families being like, is it possible to save a top bunk or a bottom bunk? If it's for a certain reason, we can certainly try to support that request. But for the most part, the campers pick the beds as soon as they get to camp. If I signed up for bunk 1, would I still send my camper with stationery, envelope, stamps, or is it all done on computer? That's a preference for you. If you wanna have your camper send snail mail, you're more than welcome. But if you would like to just do bunk 1, that's totally fine too. Bunk 1's obviously faster. It's literally a printout, and we bring it with the mail during mail time. So they receive it during mail time, just like any like snail mail. Sometimes it's nice to go classic and get a classic letter during camp and send a classic letter during camp, but it's preference, whatever you prefer. Obviously the mail time is longer. If they're doing mini camp or if they're doing a 1-week session, you might not get that letter until they're back home. So if you want that quick communication, I would advise of bunk 1, but it's preference.
I also recommend, if you are signed up for bunk 1, to pre-print the response papers. They look like printed stationery, and they have like a barcode or QR code on the bottom. So when we scan them, they go right where they're supposed to go. I believe if you pre-print them, they're cheaper than if you attach them to your replies. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're worried about your camper losing them or messing them up, it might be worth the extra credits to attach it to your reply. But a lot of families prefer to pre-print them and send them with the camper. But they can't use stationery or anything else other than the bunk 1 paper for bunk 1.
Good point. Can counselors help the kids write home if they need help? Yep, certainly. That's what they're there for. Whatever they need help with, that's what the staff is there for. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay. If I have a boy in the boy camp and a girl in the girl camp, will they see each other? Yes, they will see each other on Wednesday nights. We have a dance or a social. It's at the girls' camp. So the boys have dinner at Aki. Then we take the tractor over to Matollionequay. Each session has a different camp theme, which we can send out with the letter tomorrow. And they have a dance together. We call it a social really because there's more to do than just the dance. But they have, with the tennis courts open where they can play basketball or tennis, and that's where the kids dance. There's an arts and crafts station open. The land sports field is open. Hammock Village is open. So it's a really nice time to reconnect with each other.
I have a question. What is the ratio to counselor to camper?
So it varies based on the age. For younger campers, it's like a 1 to 8, and then as they get older, it becomes like a 1 to 15. But we keep a 1 to 10 ratio. Within the cabins, it's smaller. So each cabin has 8 beds, and we try to do like 2 counselors per cabin. So 6 kids in a cabin and 2 counselors. Does every week have new kids or typically carry over from the previous week? My daughter's going for 1 week, so curious if she will be the only kid that week. So every session we pretty much get a new like slew of campers, anywhere between 120 to 150-ish campers per session at each camp. There are kids that do multiple sessions, but I would say for the most part, campers do 1 session, would you say?
Yeah.
Then
And there's a good mixture of returning and new campers. And the first day, the cabin staff and VL do a great job of get to know you activities and cabin bonding and working with the kids to get to know each other so that they get acclimated pretty quickly.
The way that we cabinize cabins too is we'll never put a returning camper or a new camper in an all new returning bunk. So either it will be a cabin full of brand new campers, or it will be like some campers are returning and some campers are new, but we wouldn't, we think about these dynamics as we're putting these cabins together. So we wouldn't put in a camper that doesn't know anyone, or know like in a cabin that all the kids know each other. Any other questions? So what we're gonna do tomorrow is, this has been recorded, so we're gonna send out the link. It's also gonna go on our YouTube channel, so if anyone needs to refer to it, it's there. We're also always available, so you can email us at any time. So tomorrow you'll get this link, and then you'll get the schedule, the packing list, the link to the 3 drawers, and the theme weeks for the session. And then, if there's anything that you guys need, we're here. We're here to support your camper and support you and make sure that they have the best summer possible and being the best versions of themselves. Do the top bunks have guardrails? Yeah, they do.
Thank you very much. This has been very helpful.
Of course, of course.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.